events out there. I'll be looking at 5 years. No.
So, how old are these weapons, and what do you call them? These rifles?
Right, I'll take you through them.
Yeah, if you can, just a little bit document the guide.
These are Mark IV Enfields. This was the standard British Army weapon at the time.
Okay.
So most infantrymen would carry this. It's a 10-round box magazine, very high rate of fire, very smooth, very simple to use, but also had a range of over a mile. So it could kill over a mile.
1 mile.
Yeah, so
It's old rifle, still 1 mile reach.
well, there's an interesting story about some US Marines who came under fire in Kandahar recently. And when they finally got rid of the person who was shooting at them, they found his body. One of these. It's still one of the best sniper rifles in the world.
It's not a sniper rifle, and that reached 1 mile.
It's not used. It's not a sniper rifle as such. But you put a scope on that, and it turns into a pretty good one. So the Americans made them as well during the war. Savage Arms actually made them under license, and the Americans did use them alongside the Springfields for sniping. They were that good. And then we've got the Mark II Stem gun. What we needed was an SMG that would sort of answer what the Germans had, was the MP40. We didn't have any SMGs at all, so we come up with this. Originally we were buying Thompson machine guns, which is this one here, from the Americans. Now, back in the day, back in the 1940s, that would cost £50 to make, which back then was a lot of money. That would cost £5.
When did this use done last time in the World War?
This was basically called a Chicago typewriter. The gangsters used it right the way through the 20s. It was designed literally just after the war. And
how many bullets in one shot? You know that you can shot.
It'll fire single and fully automatic. So 25, 30-round magazine, or a 20-round magazine, or you could have a drum magazine with a thing about 50 rounds in it to 100 rounds, and it would fire.
Still in a working condition.
This one, this is a
Replica.
This one's a film gun. This will fire.
That's the gun used in World War II, the old gun.
Yeah, this World War II. That was used in World War II as well. The Americans favoured it, but they used the M1 Garand rifle, which was semi-automatic as opposed to a bolt action. That's what we've got with ours.
And the grenade here is a replica, but that's kind of grenade used in World War II.
It is, yeah. This is called a Mills bomb. So it's just a big chunk of metal. It's designed basically to fragment. So when it exploded, all these pieces would break into chunks. It's a bit like a chocolate bar. All these pieces would break into chunks and fly around. So if you were in the end of that, you'd get shredded. It's not a nice thing to use.
It's a powerful one.
And you've got the German version, which we often pick up.
So
that's a German Stellgranaten, which is stick grenade. You can see the difference. The great thing about this is when you throw it, because you've got the stick on the end, you can throw it a lot further. But if you're on a hill and you throw it uphill, it won't roll down. This one will roll down. So you don't want to be around when that goes off.
Okay. And what about this old pistol here?
This is a not a Browning, sorry. It's a Colt 1911. Royal Marines also carried Brownings, but towards the sort of end of the war, Brownings were getting very, very scarce. So they started opting for the Colt.
How many rounds you can use this?
8 rounds.
8 rounds, that's good. And how far this can reach?
Probably about 50 yards.
50 yards.
Effective yard, about 50 yards. It was a close-up weapon. So, if you're up close, it was the last resort, really.
And this is the gun used in World War II?
It is.
And
the other thing we carried was this, which is the Sykes Fairbairn
that's
Falcon
really
knife.
nice.
So this is quite nasty, to be quite honest. It was designed by 2 chaps called Sykes and Fairbairn, who were actually policemen out in Singapore. And because most of the gangs out there all use knives and fought with knives, they came up with their own unique way of fighting with knives for themselves and invented this. It's very, very light.
What do you call? Is there any name of this
Yeah,
knife?
it's a Sykes Fairbairn fighting knife. And it was designed that way because it's nice and slender. The blade was meant to go between the ribs.
They won't let me have a real one.
No.
You can have the...
Oh, that's too light. That's the lighter.
I'll show you the...
It's just rubber.
Yeah.
All the better for.
Oh, that's the one.
So what you do is it's either go in under the ribs or through the ribs. That's what it's designed to do. Or you go in through the neck and then punch out. So you're taking out the main arteries in the neck and severing the voice box.
That's too heavy, man. That's the heavy one.
It's a nice
Yeah,
way.
yeah, it's nice. Yeah. And what about the history of this Jeep? Old Jeep and the gun?
I'll let my compatriot tell you about this because he knows more about it. A bit of history on the Jeep.
All right, yeah. That was the Jeeps that the Americans.
So what's your name, sir?
I'm Steve.
Steve, my name is Kush. I'm making this documentary film for defense people. So I'm making this documentary film just, for YouTube users.
Yeah.
And some of my defense fans.
Right.
Yeah, that's it.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, I know. So what is the history of this Jeep? This looks very old, and is this really used in World War II?
Yes and no. Basically, there'll be parts of this that were used in World War II, but it's mostly rebuilt now. Obviously, it's 80 odd years old. And this is one of the Jeeps that the Americans left in Europe in 1945. They didn't want to take them home. So they said to the French, "Here you go, 20,000 Jeeps, they're yours." Now, a French company called Hotskis took over the contract of maintaining them and keeping them running. This one was actually serviced into the 80s. Algeria and places like that where the French, were operating. In fact, where you see the occasional scratch on the paintwork, you can see the desert yellow underneath. Which I discovered when I was changing the batteries one day, because beneath the battery tray it was all
It's still in
yellow.
working condition.
Oh yeah. In fact, I've just had the gearbox rebuilt and it's running better than ever.
How powerful is that engine? How powerful is that engine?
The engine,
Is
unfortunately, it is a Willis engine. So
okay.
yeah, it's not. Later Oxkishes ended up with Peugeot engines and things, but this has got the original Willis engine.
Yeah, I'm keen to understand how big is that gas tank and how far this can go in a war, in a war
That's a
situation.
very good question because my mate's got a Jeep.
Yeah, they're still
And
looking
he
around,
told me it
believe
cost
it or
him
not.
nearly £100 to fill the gas
A
tank.
couple of countries that still use
It
them.
cost me about 40 to fill mine up. So I'm thinking we must
And I
have
know they've been
gas tanks.
used quite a lot over.
How big is that
in
tank?
Places like Helmand and
Tell you to be
Kandahar,
honest,
by Taliban, who use them as sniper
I think
rifles.
they put different tanks
that good?
on different cars depending
Yeah, they're really
on
good.
got them and what the purpose was, The one he's got is an it's Willis Jeep. It's an ex-British Army one. And as I said, this is a French Army one.
They're not. I mean, those are resi cats.
And how old is that gun? Is that gun
Having
really used
the
in World
actual
War?
ones,
Well, the gun.
Yeah. What do you call it? This gun? What is the name of this
It's a
gun?
Bren gun.
we've got to make a few sort of.
Bren being Bruno factory in Czechoslovakia.
Yeah.
BREN for Enfield in
Most people are very
England, who
interested.
make the
We
Enfields.
tend not to have too many
So
problems.
it's a combination of the two factories' names, Bren. And
The actual,
that's
the
an early
real
one.
ones, as you probably
That's
know,
a Mark
quite
one.
light.
Yeah.
So
And stamped up as
when you get kids with over
1942.
and
That one.
over,
So that one will have seen some
How many rounds you have in one magazine?
they drop that. It
30
goes on
rounds in the
photo
mag.
of land
30 rounds.
sibling, Then it
And
gets a
then
bit.
obviously you've got
so
the big
we
box
just
there
gotta be
with all
careful.
the mags in as well. I don't know if you're already aware, but you see the ammo pouches that we all carry. So if you've got a squad of soldiers, 10 men,
Yeah.
you've seen these things before. And the
Yeah.
pouches on the front there that sit there.
Yeah.
Well, each man would have his own ammunition in one of these, and he'd have a couple of Bren mags in the other.
How much weight they carry at one?
Well, quite a bit of weight. I could,
About 60 to 70 kilos.
60. Bloody hell,
And,
during this.
basically, when you come to contact, the guys would go forward, but the Bren gun would set up in a base of fire position, and they would all pass the Bren gun mags to him or his loader. So he'd probably have as many as there are in that box to keep putting down fire while the guys did the work around, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, the petrol, don't know the size of the tank, I'll be honest with you.
No, that's fine.
It cost me about 50-60 quid to fill it up, and it's a 2.3 litre petrol engine. So you can imagine if you start revving it, the petrol just goes.
That's an interesting story.
You were eco-friendly.
No, it's gas guzzles, weren't it?
Yeah.
And you've got some small packs of things tied on around the place. That's just got your personal gear in it.
Oh, what is this? This.
That's plastic explosive.
That's a reproduction box. So,
The box is real.
oh, the box.
The box is real.
PE inside is repro. We obviously
It's a replica.
we
Okay.
couldn't have PE.
No.
It was a rubber soled boot. It's the first commando soled boot. So we've got commando soled.
As well,
If you look at some of the other soldiers over the way, they've got hobnails. Now, because we did an awful lot of boat work and we also wanted to be
So you've got
stealthy,
your ammo in
they
those
gave
two
us
packs.
rubber soles.
My grandfather has got issues with like a big one.
but also if
You know,
take
the
extra ammo,
it's coming in like
Oh, up to there.
up to there.
These are ankle boots.
They used in World War
Camo
II.
boots. So the only clamps are just over your ankle. So we finish
they
them
might
off
keep
with
me a bit warmer.
Yeah.
So will it?
your putties at the bottom.
Very nice. Well, thank you very much, sir.
Nice to meet you.